So I stayed here, and my wife went back to Malaysia, so I stayed back in China. And I tell you, I had a blast. And I told my colleagues and my staff, I was saying, oh, come spend the Chinese New Year with us. And I said, yes, please, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And
they're so lucky.
And they're always very modest, and because the place they live are small, or in a small hutong, or in a small apartment, a flat. And but I said, don't worry. I said, I'm from Malaysia, and we do the same. We also eat on the streets, and those things.
Exactly. We use chopsticks too. So I know how to use chopsticks. Yeah.
So it all started with New Year's Eve dinner, reunion dinner.
Okay,
right?
okay, the biggest dinner of the year.
So we went back, and then at that time, transportation was difficult, right? So during winter, we don't have any vegetables that is green except cabbage. We only have cabbages, the Chinese big cabbages.
What we call napa cabbage, not really the round one.
The
long ones,
the long ones,
okay.
The napa, the Chinese cabbage.
Yeah.
And just before winter, you can see trucks and truckloads of cabbages all coming, and people are buying by hundreds of kilos. And when you walk,
can't imagine.
So when you go out to the houses and all those, you will see the cabbages are all stacked on top of the roof and everything, because it's cold.
Cabbages on top of the roof.
Yeah, and the good thing about the cabbages is because in the winter, right, when you want to eat, if it's outside, it's dirty, then you just pluck off the top, and then you can still eat the inside.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
And it's still nice and fresh and
crisp. And it's cold, so it's like in the refrigerator, so it makes no difference. So I went there, and then I look at the table, the food on the table, and I says, my God, they are so creative with cabbages. Because we have steamed cabbage, we have pickled cabbage, we have smoked cabbage, we have this cabbage with
spicy
prawns,
cabbage.
Correct.
Everything was cooked with cabbage.
But,
oh my gosh.
But I tell you, the tastes are all different, of course. It's salty, it's sweet, it's sour.
That is true. Chinese people are very creative. With the resources that they have. It always seems to shock
they bought everything in bulk. Remember tomatoes? They probably cook it differently. Tomato soup, for eggs with tomatoes.
Right? Yes.
So,
eggs and tomatoes.
So we ate, and then it was really the best, the best meal I ever had in that sense, because you can see all these things, right?
I'm curious. Go back to the entering into the home. First, you said that transportation was hard, so just getting to the houses.
Yeah, of course. At that time, we can take the mian tea.
The mian tea. Here we go.
Only the mian tea would go to the outskirts.
And then my colleague, he didn't live really outskirts, but it's quite far. But in current situation, it's not far. But in the old situation, it was far.
And it was hutongs. Are we talking about hutongs?
Yeah.
All right. And hutongs, for the benefit of our audiences who have never been to China, were the
very narrow lanes.
Very narrow lanes dividing all the different
courtyards,
and all the courtyards are surrounded by 4 buildings, where it's usually owned by one family, or lived
sometimes
in with
it's many families.
Many families.
Sometimes one depends.
Yeah, sometimes one depending on how rich you are.
Right.
But this normally they have one section of the out of the 4, maybe you get one section or a quarter or 1/8 of it. So like my friend, they have a quarter of it or half of it. So it was quite okay, because the parents were surgeons, so they're quite,
So they were pretty much higher up on the rank of social status.
It's a very modest 1-bedroom, and the 1 living room and 1 little kitchen, and those sort of things. So we had, so it was okay.
Yeah.
And so we ate, and then after that, when we were clearing the table, then I noticed that the mom left all the